Hey, welcome back everybody to another episode of Valhalla Games, the War Games podcast. And with me I have got Rex. Rex, how's it going?
Hey Dan, I'm going well, thanks. A little bit overworked and underpaid, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah, good. We were just talking off air a minute ago, and we said to each other, "Hey, how are you doing? What are you up to?" And we actually said, "Why don't we start recording?" I'm pretty sure that sometimes people must think that we're talking all the time, and that I suppose this is just a voice of the hobby, but actually sometimes it's very much a normal sort of catch up as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We've both been busy. You've been all around New Zealand, soldiering for a living, and every time I get an email from you, you seem to be in a different location. Either that, or it's just I've been so busy, my time's been compressed, and then I've been working, and more working. Not as anywhere near as much hobbying as what I'd like. I see other people that occasionally do blog posts and post stuff on the internet that have been doing a lot of hobby. So maybe we'll come on to that soon, Dan.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a bit guilty with that, but we'll definitely will come on to it soon. But yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it through the latest round of Australian natural disasters to hit with all the flooding and stuff over there. I hope all our friends in the hobby have come out of that okay.
Yeah, I'll say it's up and down. If it's not fire, it's drought or something else. I do say Australia's the land of drought and plenty, but drought, flood, plenty, none at all. Yep,
Yeah.
pick your poison. But other places around the world have had a tough go of it as well. Every time I turn on the TV, I seem to see someone's getting flooded away, earthquaked away, dying in a plane crash, or getting burnt to a crisp. So I think maybe the solution is just don't turn on TV. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm doing more and more of that increasingly. So I hope that all the listeners and all your families have been all good, and we're worried by nothing more terrifying than a mountain of plastic that's unpainted or metal.
Absolutely. We're thinking of you guys out there, and I hope you get through it.
Good one, me too.
So, so because my hobby is probably going to be quite short, Dan, and yours might take 45 minutes, an hour and a half, something like that. Shall I do my hobby first?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to have an abridged one for my hobby, but you go for it, Rex. Tell us about yours, because I've seen some pretty amazingly painted models appearing on the interwebs.
Yeah. So for those of you who might be new to Valhalla Games podcast, Dan and we always like to inspire each other by what we've done and hobby, and we certainly get expired. We do get expired sometimes as well, but we also get inspired by what we see out on Facebook groups and what have you as well. And my gosh, everybody just seems to be getting better and better. Dan, some of the stuff that you see out there now. It's just amazing. What do you think?
Yeah, it's isn't it great? Like the use of social media uh, and particularly or not just social media, but the ability to access information, especially in a visual way that allows us to see the use, the particular close-up use of a paint or a method or the way to hold a brush or whatever the case is. Everybody's moving everybody else along. It's quite scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And for the people come into the hobby for the first time, I think we've talked about this many times before, but don't be daunted by what you see. Be inspired by what you see. There's to get some minis on the table, throw some dice with your mates. Is one thing. Paint some stuff up. slap a bit of paint on it and just have fun is another thing again. And then, if you really want to be a nice painter, if you really want to learn how to paint nicely, well, that's another thing again. You don't need to do all of that all the time. But yeah. All right, so my hobby. So I haven't played much bolt action for quite a long time, Dan. As I've mentioned before, I have a couple of guys that I play games with, and we go in and out of different games. And at the moment, we're in on Warhammer: The Old World. Now,
Yeah, but just to interrupt, I like the way you said that, but that shows how many games you are getting these days and how great your little silo of players is, because I think it's actually been 3 weeks since you had your last bolt action game. And, a few years ago, you would have been, if you said you hadn't played for ages, it would have been, 6 months or something like that.
yeah, it is good. It is good. So what I've been doing is with the guys, Ian and Ian, we've been playing Warhammer: The Old World. I'll come back to that in a minute. But I've got a couple of guys. One Terry that I've been playing with, and he's keen to get into bolt action. So I've been playing with him at my house. Should I say this or not? I don't know. Every time my wife says, well, I got to go into the office this week, or I've got to get into Sydney this week, I send Terry a message and say, hey. My wife's away from home today because we both normally work from home. Do you want to come round and roll some dice and have a Subway lunch afterwards? Starting to become a bit of a thing, and I'm really looking forward to
That's good.
to the next one. So
That's good. You're not wargaming behind your wife's back. What you're doing is you're waiting until you're not going to be in her way. That's what you're doing.
That's exactly it, yeah. And in fact, she said to me, "Look, you're working too hard. We're at a stage in life where we need to be being deliberate about not working till 1 a.m. every night of the week, and working on Saturdays and working on Sundays as well.
Yep.
We need to be making sure that we take some time out and doing things that we enjoy. But I'm not quite sure. I think she more meant going with her on trips to the beach and that sort of thing. I think she was so much meaning stop work, earn no money, and play war games with Terry. But I'm going to go with that. So yeah.
Good.
So what I've been doing in terms of my historical stuff, bolt action stuff, is the usual thing when I don't have much time to game or paint is I print stuff, like 3D print stuff. So I have printed just endless stuff, so castles and all kinds of stuff that maybe I might use it sometime. But oh my gosh, they look awesome.
Nice.
So I'm stockpiling, and I finished my shelves, Dan. I've got the dedicated shelving unit in the garage now. I finally finished it. It took me so long to finish it that the black melamine coated shelves that I was using, it's very slick and cool and black. They don't make that anymore, so half the shelves are black and half are white.
Right.
But you can imagine, because you know me, Dan, you can imagine how that's going down. I'm thinking some epoxy paint on the shelves might be the solution for that. But
Right. Okay.
So yeah, my bolt action stuff's been a little bit limited, but I have been playing Warhammer: The Old World, which I've been enjoying. Although I think it was maybe designed for smarter people than I. My gosh, there's a lot of maths in that game, and a lot of things to remember. Oh my gosh! But I've been enjoying it, and the guys have been pretty patient with me as I come up to speed, because some of them have been playing it for 15 years or something like that, and I've been playing it for 6 months. So yeah, it's taking me a while, but I'm getting there. And to that end, I have like some sort of, I don't know, ADHD something. I printed out a whole army of Chaos Dwarves, and I didn't like them. So I printed out a whole army, and when I say a whole army, I'm talking about 150 models or something like that of dwarves.
Right.
And then I like them, but I don't like the rules so much. So then I've moved on because my attention span apparently is that of a chicken. I moved on to I moved on to men, and so I'm currently painting up a Bretonian army. It's all pretty new to me, but I'm loving painting. I've printed out some knights on horseback, and I'm going with those guys, and I'm really enjoying that. And because it's not my primary game, which I usually, I try pretty hard to paint my bolt action guys. I put in a fair amount of effort. Because this is not my primary game, I've been playing with contrast paints, which has sped the whole process up and made it feasible versus just depressing. And I've actually moved through it pretty quickly. So yeah, I need to get some heraldry kind of decals and do a few details in that. But yeah, I got 30 or 40 knights there that are mostly painted. Not sure when I'll field all those on the table at once, but there you go.
Oh, that's
So I think
that's really good though. Yeah, doing lots. I enjoyed your painting on all of them. I am sitting here quietly with a smile on your face because unlike historical World War Two, there may be some historical periods. But unlike historical World War Two, I'm trying to think of all the places you should go where you shouldn't say that you haven't been satisfied by the dwarves you've tried and you've moved on to men. Um, so,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah.
But
Actually, I got complaints about my dwarves was part of the problem. So when you play dwarves, apparently you sit back and you just shoot everybody because their stumpy little legs won't carry them fast enough. So I quite like that game because it gives me a chance, because I'm only a new player, it gives me a chance to sort of be reactive, let other people make bad mistakes and then just capitalize on them. But apparently me just sitting back and shooting everybody up until they die is less of an interesting game than what it could be. I don't know about that. I feel it's quite interesting. But
yeah.
yeah.
Dwarves,
So
Tau, all these armies that people just love playing against when they castle up in the corner.
Yeah. The other thing that I've been doing, as I said, I've been 3D printing until my head falls off, and I've been printing castles. And what I'll do is I'll keep the details under wraps, and I'll put a post up on valhallagames.net, our blog post, so you can see some ideas of it. But what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to get the definitive Rex's recipe on painting castle walls, because as you know, I'm grey impaired.
Yep.
I'm completely unable to paint a satisfactory grey wall or castle. I don't know why, but there you go. I am. I think it's got something to do with the way that I spray can base coat, because I'm too lazy to do anything any better. But so I've been working on these sort of browns and creams and that, and I've just been going over and over and over it like a crazy person and not being happy. So I'm now going to venture out into more painting of greys. We'll see how it goes, because it bothers me, Dan, that all my miniatures that I'm painting at the moment have grey rocks on them, and yet my castles are made of brown rocks.
Yep, I get that. Because
So
you're quite likely to dig out the coloured rock that's around you instead of getting 20,000 people to push your giant sphinx-like blocks from one side of your kingdom to the other, right?
Yeah, that's right. Only churches can afford to bring in blocks from some other place in the world to make them distinctive. But everybody else needs to use the natural resources around them. So, as we've said before, when you become a wargamer, as you get deeper and deeper into it, you become somebody that's interested in architecture, botany, and a number of other sort of side subjects. And it irks me that my bases of all my guys are grey, and yet my castles are brown. So I just need to do something about that. I just can't cope with it.
Nice. Um, what I have found is, so your castles, are they regular, like sort of blocks? Are they like, is that the construction?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right, I'm looking forward to the pictures. What I've found is that interspersing different blocks every now and then with washes works. So just over like a medium sort of a grey, putting on. So once you've done your first layer of dry brushing to get the texture, then put on a slightly diluted sepia, then a slightly diluted Athonian camoshade, slightly diluted Agrax Earthshade, those sort of types of colours and other paint ranges, and then again dry brush over the top of that, and that really gives a really good look.
Yeah, I agree. And I asked for your paint recipe, and you sent me a paint recipe, but it was in another language, Dan. It was in GW paints, so that meant nothing to me. So now I have to go and convert them into English, being Vallejo or something else, before I can make sense of it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But one of the things that I've encountered is, seriously now, one of the things that I've encountered is getting what I like on a 3D printed FDM printer model, whether it be a castle or whatever else, is trickier than just getting what you want if it was resin or MDF or whatever, because you've got a flat surface. And so the whole dry brushing thing on a 3D printed item with, it's got layer lines, and you need to be hiding the layer lines, not accentuating them. So dry brushing from top to bottom is a traditional thing that we always do. All that does is it just makes all your lines stand out a bit more. So, but I'll get to the bottom of it, and I'm enjoying, in inverted commas, the challenge. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the day that I can get some of that stuff on the castle, on the table rather. One thing is that not all that terrain is suitable for all periods in terms of wargaming, but I'm pretty sure there's been at least once or twice in history, or in Second World War, that some guys have fought over an old broken down castle that was 1,200 years old. So I'm sure I can get some guys on the table there and have some nice challenges, and get some nice photos as well. So that's about me anyway. That's sort of the limit of my hobby. I have bought a few boxes of plastic. I have got a few boxes in mind. I went into War and Peace Games and saw that Barons War.
Yep.
From War Games Atlantic. So not only the models, but a rule set as well. That's piqued my interest. So you never know, that might come home with me very soon. But I've also bought quite a few books and things as well. But yeah, not as much hobby as what I would have liked.
No, I get it.
On the flip side,
yeah, go for it.
Dan has been hobbying till his head falls off.
I have, yeah. So for starters, we've got a missing episode of this podcast. We had technical difficulties with it after in post production, I guess that's what you call it, and we couldn't publish it, but it was.
But we will.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I think it might
if
be
it's still
defunct
relevant,
by then.
I'll have to re-listen to it again. Yeah.
I think maybe we just do this one in lieu of that one, but yeah. But one of the things that I covered in there was sort of how I finished up with the end of the year for my hobby goals, which I set myself a crazy amount of hobby goodness to paint on my ridiculous shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars type scenarios, stretch goals for myself for last year. But of course, I was going to publish my list of stuff I painted for anyone who'd been playing along at home. I was going to publish it at the start of the year, but in February, I think. But then I was going to coincide with the podcast. It didn't get published, so I thought today I'd put people out of their misery, and I've actually posted today where I'm at with that, and I've sort of rolled it over into this year because last year, if this was the Chinese calendar, the Chinese wargaming calendar, last year was the year of the figure. This year, Rex, what do you think this year is?
This year is the year of the terrain.
It is. It's the year of the terrain this year, for reasons that
Yeah.
we'll talk about very shortly. Um, so yeah, I've got a whole heap of terrain. I had a whole heap of terrain on that list anyway, and I made some good headway into it last year. But this year so far, I have hardly finished any figures, and I've been all about the terrain, and I have done a lot. So instead of talking about it and listing it off here, if I point people towards our blog on our website, valhallagames.net, and if you go there and check it out, you'll be able to see and cure your insomnia by reading my my list of stuff. Do you think that'll cure world insomnia, Rex?
Yeah, it's a big list. So I have a really big monitor, right? I'm an IT guy, so I can afford to have a splash out and get a big monitor for myself. And I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 page downs, and that's just your list on my
Yeah.
big monitor.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
so I'm guilty with the long list. So as I said on the post, I don't claim that's the most exciting post ever.
Yeah, well, at least you've got a list, Dan. I'm very impressed with that. I'm much of a list guy myself, and just the fact of having a list, even if you didn't get everything done, you get more done than you would have if you didn't have a list. I think I may have mentioned before that we have a unspoken competition on a Saturday in our house. Whoever has their list, the most complete list, wins the day on Saturday. So if it's working outside, mowing the lawn, cleaning the gutters, and I have my list done first, then I get to do my stuff. If not, well, someone else in the house wins.
Yeah, that's quite impressive because then your list also has in it to complete the list, and then it must be the biggest list on the list to be completed to have the best list or something.
That's right. My friend Gavin Cox had a book which was a list of lists. That was all it had in it, lists.
Yeah, well, hobby-wise, it's worked for me for a long time. So, boring as it may be, that commitment is actually one of the best things about that I do with our media. I guess getting it out there and keeping myself accountable. So there we go. But yeah,
Hey, before you move on, Dan, just a small technical point. I'm sure people won't mind. Would you mind turning off your beautiful video head? Because you're just coming through a little bit choppy, and if we have no video, that might do better. Yeah, this is Australia and New Zealand, which is the land of the poor internet speeds. Although I think New Zealand's actually nudging ahead. There you go. Yep. Well done, Dad. Sad to see you go, but still glad you're still here.
yeah. All right. So, as I was saying, the progress is real, and the end goal is there to all the way for September. What do you think's happening in September, Rex?
End goal?
Yeah.
End goal, Dan? Tell me more.
All right.
Not
Well,
not at all staged, that question.
yeah. I think we should. I think we should expand on that for our listeners. So, for those of you who don't know, I am hosting an event, a 2-day bolt action event in September 27th and 28th in Christchurch, New Zealand, called Operation Spring Awakening.
Wow, that's exciting. And I think I might even come to your event, Dan.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. So Rex is committed to coming all the way from Australia to it. what I will say is that I'm I'm running this one by myself, so that that'll help Rex just attend, and I'm keeping all my secrets from him, such as any submitted lists and stuff like that. So Rex, you have been amazing in doing the event pack for me, but apart from that, actually Rex is in the dark as much as any of the other players, so that it's all fair and square, and yeah, and that he can actually enjoy the event, and I'll be the one running it by myself.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm so looking forward to coming. I'm so looking forward to coming. I'm very excited. Do you want to share the excitement of what's going on with everybody else, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll dive into a few of the details then. So 27th, 28th September, as I spoke about. It's in Burnham, which is just outside of Christchurch here in New Zealand, in the South Island here. Um, it is 1250 points. I've gone for 5 games over the weekend, 3 on the Saturday and 2 on the Sunday. Um, the event is actually aimed at, well, it's an open event, unlike what you might suspect from the title being a actual Operation Spring Awakening. It's not about a particular operation in World War II. Rather, I've used the fact that it's actually our springtime here in New Zealand, in Australia for that matter, for Rex. And it's an opportunity for us to get together, and I suppose get out, centre our community, and play some games after winter hibernation.
Sounds good. So no one's going to be penalised for turning up with bases that don't have melted snow on them to be in theme. And
No, no.
melting
Um,
snow even.
yeah, yeah. No, the event itself is, as I say, it's an open event, but it's not purely just competitive. It's got we've got all sorts coming to it. We've got a full range of people from those that have played in many events before, from what I can tell, to those who it's likely, unless they fit something in between now and then, likely to be their first event as well. So that's exciting for me because we've got a real growing community here in Christchurch, and in particular as well, local to our little game silo, which is sort of centred around Rolleston, Burnham sort of area, just south of Christchurch there too.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I know you had another event, it seems like recently, but maybe a little while ago now, where it was kind of an intro. So, if this is your first event, rock up and get a taste of what it's like. So you've been priming people so that when they come to an event that's got a few more people from wider afield, they'll still feel just as comfortable. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to coming to see you, Dan, in New Zealand, because Dan and I, although we're brothers, we live in different countries. We don't get to see each other that often. I'm also looking forward to getting my army painted, which has been a big push, and I got distracted by pixies and dwarves and what have you. But back on the bold action soon, and I'm looking forward to doing my first V3 tournament. I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. Gosh, V3's been out for such a long time, and I've just been playing with friends and buddies. So yeah, first tournament. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Now I've got your event pack here, Dan, and I have to say, firstly, I think it's a good event pack. Now I did some of the layout stuff, so I'm not going to compliment myself on that. But in terms of having all of the content there under all the appropriate headings and everything you could possibly want in an event pack, including the contact details, the date, the place, things which sometimes get left off, believe it or not, but right down to the detail of where you can stay nearby, your food options. Don't forget to bring your round corner bolt action order dice, and up to
Yeah.
seven up to 7 25mm uh, objective
Objectives,
markers
yep,
and that. So
yep.
I ran it by some people in the industry that know their event packs, and they actually said that this was one of the nicest event packs in terms of content and that they'd ever seen. So there's an absolute content compliment for you, Dan, from a couple of people who know. So well
Oh,
done on
that's
that.
very kind of them. End of the day, yeah, the look of it and the layout is that's all you. Thank you for getting stuck in and doing that for me. I suspect that the layout for the book may have come in handy for the layout of the event pack as well. Did it?
Yes, I'm so lazy that I couldn't be bothered creating a new look and feel. I had one that was already tested and seemed to work, so I stole it from some guys who wrote a book.
Well, that's good. It's good. I'm glad it made your life easier. But yeah, no, I really much appreciated that, and I'm quite proud of the way it looks. But yeah, the content itself, I suppose, I've had quite a few events before, so it was good to try and bring all that together and make sure I had stuff, and I wrote it. As if you were going to travel there with that, things like accommodation and food and stuff like that in mind. So, yeah, it was really important to me. I got it in there, and we got out the initial pack, and then about a month later, we added to that pack with the missions for the event as well. So everything's together in the one single place there now as well. So now, if you're a player which is joining, then you'll be able to find it all in the one pack.
And even if you're not planning to come, which you should be seriously considering it, if you're anywhere on this side of the planet, go and check out the pack, download it, have a good read, look at Dan's labour of love, and I think you'll be impressed. Now, where could you get this pack, Dan? This is my used to be a sales guy trial close. If you were interested and you just wanted to have a look, and the answer to the would you like to download the pack question is yes.
Yeah.
Where would you get that?
So basically, if you head towards our website, so valhallagames.net, you'll be able to find it there. One of the easiest ways is that it's been posted on the blog, or all the updates have been posted on our blog there, and Rex has just done a good job of updating it and posting the latest small change, which I'll talk about shortly on the blog as well. And it's less of a change than it is a definition. So if you've already downloaded the blog, I can cover the changes or the definitions for you shortly in about one sentence. So yeah, don't worry. Things
Yeah.
are basically the same.
And I've just pinned that post to the top of valhallagames.net, and that'll be pinned there until the event comes, which is when
That's
again,
great.
Dan?
Thanks for that. 27th, 28th September. So what I'm asking for players is, if you're interested in coming, please register as soon as possible. So we have got a total of up to 46 tickets available. So what I've asked for is people to commit to playing either Axis and Allies, or Allies, I should say, when they sign and register for their ticket. Reason for that is obviously we want a equal number of both, and luckily I've got a number of awesome players who have committed to one side when they registered, but they've kindly said, hey, I can actually play the other side as well. And in the event that something happens as well, we do have certain sides such as Italians and stuff like that, that of course when you turn up to an event with those, you're pretty much resigned to the fact that you may actually be changing sides at some stage if it's an Axis versus Allies event, eh, Rex?
So just the same as 1943 then, or was it 44?
No,
Yep.
40, yeah, 43. But
And if you turn up with Soviets as well, you never know, they might change sides too. Hopefully only once, and hopefully they'll end up on our side till the end of the war.
yeah.
So, because those Katyushas, we don't want to fight. We don't want to face those.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got all these countries that through various non-aggression pacts slash um, changing of allegiances and stuff, could do that. But it's gonna work out really well that way. The reason why I've it's gone to 46 initially, actually, it was at 30 players, but we sold half the tickets in a few days after the event went live. So we changed it to 46. Am I expecting a full 46? Well, that would be fantastic, but I'm actually hoping to get a nice round number and figuring that 40 would be probably the very top round number I was going to get. I've added a few on that for life happening, dropouts and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, the format that I'm running, which I'll talk about shortly, it lends itself to a nice round number, and yeah, we'll expand on that shortly.
Well, I want to know it all, Dan. I just want it all. I want it now. Do you want to talk about format first? We're on that subject, or do you want to talk about missions and things, or do you want to go back over some of the detail in the scenario pack, which is so well presented? I'm not sure that we need to.
Yeah, I think what I might do is talk about the format first, because then we've got the broad brushstrokes of the event before we go into the scenarios themselves. How does that, Rex?
Sounds good. So, as you said, it's Ally versus Axis. Okay, so already there's your uh, some pegs in the ground there, and you've also talked about a round number of tables. How is all that going to work?
Okay, good question. And I think the more I talk about this, the better it is for some people who might be listening and going, "Oh, I was unsure because I didn't know what that format was." So this is a great, I guess, soapbox for me to stand on. So here we go. So firstly, I'm running what was known in the recent past, or not so recent past, as the Rich Humble or Rich H format, and listeners of the old Down Order podcast are probably familiar with this. So what this is it's a concept that has Axis and Allies, a split which we've spoken about already, and then it has scenarios linked to specific tables. So what it is instead of turning up to an event and um, sometimes event organisers will roll or delegate a particular scenario to a round of games being played, and you might find that you're playing, say, Breakthrough or an envelopment type mission, but on a board that basically has terrain that makes it pretty impossible for you to be able to possibly achieve that mission as a player or as a set of players. Have you ever encountered that, Rex, in your games?
I have. I very much have. And sometimes, obviously, to some degree, you've got to take an all comers list so that you're dealing with whatever the enemy throws at you. But sometimes you can just encounter that table that makes it near on impossible for one or even both people to actually have a balanced game, and you end up really playing the table rather than the scenario and your opponent. And yeah, that can be frustrating.
Yeah, it can. I mean, just through the luck of the draw, whatever the case is, you find yourself playing on that table that, you've got hedges all the way across the table. You've got several lines of hedges and obstacles, or a river or something like that goes from short edge to short edge, and, everybody else is, or most other people are sort of managing to play theirs, and you've just been completely snookered from achieving your objective because of the table. It's really frustrating for you to do. So, yeah, what it does is, so when you're playing, and let's use a rulebook scenario as an example. So let's say it is Breakthrough. When you're playing that Breakthrough, you'll play it on a table that is delegated to be a Breakthrough table, and the terrain on that will um, not make the game necessarily easy, but it'll make the game achievable for you. And it'll therefore um, mean that you've got a chance to win, but the other player's got a chance to also defeat you as well. So it's it's a good setup that way so that you can achieve these things. Now, oh sorry, Rex, you sound like you've got a point there. Go for it.
Oh, you heard me breathe. You heard me breathe in there. I had a big question. Okay, so you got 5 scenarios over 2 days, and so you're going to have what, 5 different types of table? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So here's the next phase of it. So basically, Axis versus Allied. As I say, you've got your tables delegated to missions. So the tables will be laid out according to a sequence of missions. So you might have breakthrough, then sectors, for instance, and then etc., etc. And then the tables will repeat themselves in regards to, you'll then have the next set of 5 will have a breakthrough, and then the sectors, etc., etc. And that way you can start at any start point on the tables. So in other words, when players turn up on the day, on the morning of day 1, they will draw a number. So the Allied players will get a blue number, and the Axis players will get a red number, and then they will go to that start point on the tables. And when they finish that game, they will move 1 table to the right, which therefore takes them to a new table and have a new player. And they'll keep doing that. So you will not be playing the same mission as everyone in that round of games, because the people next to you are going to be playing sectors while you're playing breakthrough, for instance. But after your
excellent.
5 games, you will have played all 5 scenarios, and so will so will have the other players played all 5 of those missions as well. Make sense, Rex?
So it does make sense. I like the idea too. I particularly like because we wrote the book on Primasol Bridge, and we love to see an action that's set up for a particular piece of terrain, and it has those specific challenges. And when you're playing Swiss, which is the other sort of commonly played, or probably the most commonly played method, you don't get that, do you? There's a few negatives to Swiss, Dan, I think, which is why you decided to go this way for a bit of a change and a bit of a mix it up. Did you want to talk about Swiss briefly?
Yeah, definitely. So the rich H format basically comes back to the fact that, or the supposition that actually 5 games is not a big enough sample size for Swiss to actually come into effect. And if we relate that to everybody's experiences, so what happens is, you turn up, you play your first game. Now let's say that 2 really good players have played each other. One of them's probably going to lose, the other one's probably going to win. The losing player will go to the bottom of the pack, if you like, and be playing players who have also lost, of variable quality. So he or she may therefore be playing someone who's not actually that evenly matched in ability. It just happens to be that they've lost their first game. So it can actually take a long time for that to actually stabilise out in an event. It can be game 4 or 5 before players of equal ability can even start to play each other, let alone, I suppose, completed or have a real sense of who's finished on top. Ever encountered that, Rex?
I have. We've spoken about that many times before.
Yep.
You play your first game, and as you know, I'm not a super competitive player. I'm rolling dice and smiling a lot and making bad decisions. But if I win my first game, then that bounces me way up the field. Oh my gosh! Second game,
Yeah.
likely to encounter. I could encounter that guy that won the. Well, probably not, but I'm going to encounter someone obviously that could be well up the field, and as you say, it takes a while, which is why I've always said that I love day 2 on a 5-game
I get
tournament
that.
event weekend, because game 4 and game 5 I'm pretty much playing guys that are at my level, and those are the games that are always the most fun. Whereas if you get in the floor pasted with you, you're learning a lot, but you're not perhaps having as much fun as what you could be.
Yeah. And likewise, when you get into that, say, game four and game five, if I concentrate on game five, a lot of people say, oh, under Swiss it's great because, you can have the number one and the number two player facing off against each other at the end and decide who's the best. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's true. But if there's a loser, that loser will sometimes drop down to fifth or sixth place while other people playing in other games will jump up. So that person, instead of playing for first and second, gets submarined, as they call it, down to like fifth or sixth place. So it doesn't really work then unless you have something in there that prevents that submarining as well. So the moral of the story is that, or the outcome of that, is that without playing Swiss and playing this way, what happens is you're scoring points. You're facing off against five players in a bit of a bit of a silo, because you're only obviously the way that you move down the tables and up the tables accordingly. You've randomly drawn those numbers for your starting point. So you go to there, you play your 5 games. Now you're playing the person across from you, scoring points off them.
Yes.
Be they Axis or allies, but actually what you're doing is you're competing against your fellow Axis and allied generals to be the best Axis or the best allied general. And if you're liking that to, say, your Soviet generals in World War II, Zhukov competing against his fellows for Stalin's favour, he's definitely scoring points, so to speak, off the Germans or the Axis. But what he's really trying to do is be the best Soviet general. So in effect, what we have is we've got winners, so to speak, for Axis and allies, and that's reflected in the prizes for the event. So we've got first, second, and third place Axis general. We've got a first, second, and third place allied general, and then overall, based on those points as well, at the end of the event, we'll have a best general as well from both sides. Make sense, Rex?
It does make sense. And when we come on to talking about the scenarios, we can talk about points and how that works.
Yeah, sounds good.
So yeah, I'm really liking it, and it also means that obviously if you're playing Swiss, you might end up, Germans versus Germans, or whoever versus whoever. Whereas this way, you're guaranteed to be fighting the dastardly enemy, no matter what happens.
Yeah, and the reality is that you could still be fighting an allied general versus so let's say an 8th Army allied army versus a German Gebirgsjäger army in the jungle. That's
Yeah,
always,
well,
there's always that chance that'll happen, but the reality is that it doesn't. That could always happen anyway in Swiss, and this way we remain in those two pots of competitors, if you like, Axis and allies, and you're scoring points accordingly to get your victories and get your prizes. And there's plenty of prizes. I'll talk about them later.
Sounds good. I like it so far.
Okay, good. Well, I suppose we've been talking about tables and that sort of stuff, so I suppose naturally we should probably speak about the missions we're going to play, the scenarios we're going to play. What do you think?
Sounds good. I like a good mission. Now I'm noticing here as a very first thing, there's some pretty weird mission names here. Nothing that I particularly, or some that I haven't seen in the rulebook before. Tell me about how that's come about.
Okay, good. So to start with, I've got a couple of principles here. So the first principle, which I think is that my principle for the event is we should be playing, certainly at the moment, we've got a new version, and in general anyway, I like to play the rules as written with the FAQs and stuff like that. that officially from Warlord, and the reason for that is that you could turn up from anywhere in the world. You could turn up, and we're not playing a specific club rule or stuff like that, but you can turn up from anywhere in the world and know that we're all playing bolt action. So that's a principle of mine. However, I've got a little caveat to that. Where I think there's room for changes is in the scenarios. So one of the things I've noticed in version 3 Rex is I've noticed that the feedback about the strength of armoured platoons continues. And the reason for that, I believe, is not only because armoured lists are strong, and they are. I believe that the way we've written the scenarios in the rulebook, and there's a couple of things there. There's the fact that, armoured vehicles are, or vehicles in general, but armoured vehicles are strong, but there's a bit of a force multiplier on them, which is the fact that the objective missions are written. So firstly, they're not sticky. Oh, sorry, they are sticky in the rulebook. So what that means is that if you can maneuver, which vehicles can, obviously, and in particular tracked vehicles, because they can go across terrain and all that sort of stuff, so you can quickly move off one to the other with your tracked vehicles.
Yes.
Now, the reason why that's, I suppose, a drama, in my opinion, is because holding objectives is not really about holding objectives. It's about capturing them and moving on, which lends themselves to those armoured vehicles. Now, the second one is that the vehicles themselves are actually, by their definition, those armoured vehicles are tough and they're hard to kill. So what we've got a lot of people moving on to an objective, capturing it, plonking a vehicle on it, and then moving off as quick as they can while that vehicle stays on there. And what it means is that unless you destroy that vehicle, you're never going to be able to recapture that objective, because it's been put on there and it's always contesting unless you destroy it.
Yeah. Yeah, and depending on the size of the vehicle, you might not even be able to get on the objective based on if you have a couple of vehicles there, you can't even contest it because of the 1-inch rule. So, yeah, it's perhaps not the way it was really designed, but it's funny how we as wargamers, break things down and kind of, break things a little bit to work out how to best meet our objectives.
Yeah. Pun intended, yeah. And when you look at it, when you look at the rulebook missions, at times I'm not entirely convinced that there is that greater spread of objectives, because or types of mission, because there's certain missions are sort of pitched as if they are an objective mission, but actually it's about maneuver. So if you look at things like the hold until relieved mission, it's actually not about holding it, because you don't have it to start with. It's actually about maneuver and movement to get to it, and then the ability to hold it. So in that regard, there's less pure objective holding. So what I've done, here's my solution, Rex. I have created basically a scenario scenarios where there's a couple of missions in there at least, and hey, I'm not going to particularly point this out. Generals need to read the pack and have a look at themselves. There are objective missions in there that are not sticky objectives. Okay, they are not sticky. So at the end of the game, whoever holds that objective, okay, will claim it. There's no touch and go moving on to somewhere else. And I've changed it so that to hold objective, there must be an infantry or artillery unit on them. So bringing in the value of infantry artillery versus armoured vehicles. Then I've gone through the other objectives and the other scenarios, and I've made sure there's a mix of attrition and manoeuvre ones in there as well, so that genuinely we start to balance out the pluses and minuses of having vehicles, and armoured vehicles in particular, and pump up the importance of infantry and artillery for holding objectives. Make sense?
I like it. And
Good.
that ties into a conversation that we had a long time ago when I was playing Kings of War, and the same guys kept winning the same game over and over again. And you said to me, well, are you playing the same scenario? And I said, yeah, we're just playing kill points, basically. He said, well, if you're playing the same scenario with the same armies, you're probably going to find that most of the time it favours one army. And
Yeah.
funnily enough, once we started playing a variety of missions, then different armies got an opportunity to shine because they had
Yeah.
different attributes. So by doing this and sort of reducing that kind of feature on manoeuvre, we are spreading the love around.
Yeah,
But
we
I see
are.
you've
Yeah.
renamed them. Very small changes, but you've renamed the scenario. What's with that?
Yeah, I was going to come back to that because that was your original question. I feel like I sort of went round the doors and now I've come back to it again. So the other principle is that I've had is that if I've made any changes at all to a mission, a rulebook mission, is that I've deliberately renamed them. Now the reason for that is because I don't want players to pick up the scenario pack, read it, and look at it. And I'm going to bring up a real example here. So instead of breakthrough, I've made some changes to it. So I've called it spearhead because I don't want there to be an assumption of knowledge. I want players to go spearhead. I'm going to read this now and work out what it is. Now I'm sort of going to
Yeah, sounds
divulge in a
good.
minute where that basis of that scenario came from originally, but the point is that it's got a different name because something works differently in there, and that's another principle I have. No assumption of knowledge. Players are not picking up going, oh, okay, breakthrough, cool, and just play it the same way, or worse. Worse is one player plays it the same way as the rulebook breakthrough, whereas another player realizes the difference because, there's obviously a disparity there.
Yeah, that's me, Dan. Turn 5. I'm rereading the scenario only to find out that it's nothing at all like what I kind of expected it to be. And all of a sudden, somewhere around turn 3, I've completely lost track, and I just want to shoot stuff and blow stuff up.
Yeah, good. All right, well, maybe I should go through the 5 scenarios and talk to them. What do you think?
Sounds good. All right, I'll read them out. I've got the pack here, Dan, and I love your pack too. I love the way that every single scenario has 7 sections: setup, deployment, scenario, special rules teased out, not deep down in the bowels of some 15 paragraph section of text.
Yeah.
Objective, first turn, game duration, and victory. So I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
one of the things I find weird in the rulebook is that the battle missions or the battle scenarios have a word picture. So they're specifically saying the competitive scenarios have got a word picture, whereas if you actually go onto the story or the narrative scenarios, they're the ones who've got the simple, headed layouts. I find that really weird. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we've not conformed to that. We've gone to the whole particular specific layout like the story or narrative scenarios have in this edition, and like they all used to have in the old edition of V2. So thanks. I'm
All
glad you
right.
noticed that because that's one thing I really wanted to help the players with.
Yep. I like it. You've compromised and done it your way.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Brian
All
Clough
right.
said, the old manager of Nottingham Forest in football. If there's a difference, we sit down and we talk about it, and we come to the conclusion that I'm right.
All right. Scenario 1: Spearhead.
Okay, so Spearhead. Spearhead's origins are breakthrough from the rulebook. Okay, so revelation there, but now I've divulged that. We're gonna put that to one side. So it's breakthrough, but your scoring table edge that you need to get off is the doesn't lap around the edge of the DZE on the short table edges. So if you picture this, your deployment zone edge, your one, laps around and goes up your 12 inches on your short table edges. That's where you can bring your troops on from. However,
Yes.
in the rulebook breakthrough, what happens is if you're playing long table edges, is that because the opponent's DZE also goes at the short table edge, you can come on at the extent of your DZE up that short table edge and then go off and score points only 24 inches away in the opponent's short table edge DZE. So you can still come on in my rules and my change, 12 inches on, so bonus for your infantry. However, they need to get off the scoring is just the long table edge on your opponent's table side. And if you break that down, okay, so 12 inches, you've got 36 inches left, so it's still achievable for the infantry even, let alone vehicles and stuff. It's not a major hamstring for infantry-based armies because you still only got 36 inches to cover, and even if you only advanced because of terrain or advanced because you wanted to shoot or whatever the case is, 6 is 36, so you can still make it across the table. So there we go, that's the change.
All right. I like it. Spared.
Yeah.
Okay, move on, number 2.
That is tooth and nail, as in we're fighting to hold our positions tooth and nail. So the origins for this,
and this one,
yeah, go Rex.
This one, I like the thing you've got in the top right hand corner, which is table quarters, prepared positions, and you've even got a little picture there as well. So we don't have to refer to a table or anything. We can just see exactly what's what and exactly where we're coming on, and exactly what our deployment style is. I'm liking that.
Yeah, that was the principle of these scenarios and the way we've laid them out. Those bullet points that you said at the start. Not only is it hopefully easy to read and not just a word picture, but it's also got the map on it for the objectives that for the setup, the table deployment that we're going to use, and we've specified at the top what the deployment type is and whether it's long table edges, table quarters, etc. So you can pick it up and it's literally like a cheat sheet. You can then work your way through it, and the writing for each scenario pretty much inserts things like where the infiltrators and stuff like that, when they come on the table and all that sort of stuff. So you're not trying to guess or desperately work it out. It's in there sort of step by step. Makes sense? All right.
I like it.
Good. So this one here, tooth and nail, similar to key positions. However, like I said, this is an objective-based mission, so there is no sticky objectives. Infantry and artillery units within 3 inches. And no enemy infantry or artillery units within 3 inches. So what that means is an enemy armoured fighting vehicle can't contest that objective.
Got it.
Happy with that, Rex? Have I made that obvious in there?
Yes. And how many objectives?
So this is another change. So in this one, one of the things I found is that if there's an even number of objectives, it makes it, it drastically increases the possibility of a draw. So what I've done is there is going to be an odd number of objectives. So one of the players rolls a D3 at the start of the game, a 1 to a 2. You've got 3 objectives, 3, 4. You have 5 objectives, and 5 or 6, you've got 7 objectives. So it's always going to be an odd number. Again, decrease that chance of a draw.
Sounds
Makes
good.
Sense?
That's scenario 2, tooth and nail. Scenario 3, acceptable losses.
Yeah, cool. So this one here originated from Seek and Destroy. So our cool points mission, and it's long table edges. Again, specified. It's going to be long table edges and meeting engagement deployment type. Should we move on?
Sounds good.
Next one.
Move on. Scenario 4, sectors.
Good. So sectors has actually carried over from version to version, and it's in version 3 in the rulebook. However, it's in the story scenarios or the narrative scenarios in the rulebook. Now,
Hmm.
I've taken that, I've kept the name, however, because I haven't changed it as such, I've just omitted something, I've kept the name the same. And the change or the omission is there is no preparatory bombardment. So remember those
Right.
all those discussions we've had about the swinginess of prep bombardment. Um,
Yep.
one player can particularly good
Even when you
start.
do the tournament thing, even when you do the tournament thing where you roll once and both sides get a prep bombardment, you can still just decimate one side if they get a bunch of
Yeah,
bad dice rolls.
yeah, you're right. So we roll once and go cool. So both players are going to, then you roll the dice and you're like, cool, we both get it. Um, well that's great. So we haven't eliminated the fact of someone getting it, someone not getting it. But one of those players could then go all the way down and roll 6 for every unit, while the other guy could be, getting ones, and that's a bit of a feel bad moment. That's tactically there's nothing you can do to control that. So
Yeah, it's not really measuring the skill of the general there, is it? Because
yeah,
there's absolutely nothing you can do about that one.
yeah. However, apart from that, that's actually a great mission. So what we've done is left it in there. As I say, it's table quarters and meeting engagement. Um, just the omission is there's no prep bombardment, just down to your tactics.
Sounds good. All right. Final game, game five, shifting
Yep,
objectives.
yep. And of course, when you say final game, remember players could be playing these in any sequence. So actually, you could be playing shifting objectives as your first game on day one. So we go away from this,
Yes.
what's the last mission, what's the first mission, etc. So people could be looking at this and going, oh man, we're playing a objectives mission as the last game. Normally we play a lot of places play like an attrition mission for their last game. But this way, we're all playing different missions, remember? So, but the
Yeah,
last
right.
mission, the last mission is shifting objectives. So this one here comes from Brad Moran's Bold Action Alliance mission pack. This is from the last version of the mission pack a couple of years ago, I do believe. And I spoke to Brad about this, and it's shifting objectives. It's long edges. It's meeting engagement, and basically the only little tweak to that is if I've specified in there that if you have guys in reserve and they don't come on, then those points for them, the point for losing that unit, or the unit count for losing that unit rather, because you need 3 destroyed units to count as 1 victory point when you come to the game's calculation,
Yes.
as opposed to an objective, which is 1 point each for the objectives. So it's pushing objectives. So that's another objective-based mission primarily, but it's creating that, or it brings in that secondary way that you could win by bringing in attrition points, but attrition aren't worth as much as the objectives. So basically, your primary objective is the objectives themselves, and then your secondary objective is the destruction of the enemy.
Yeah, it just adds that extra layer. I mean, we've all played that similar sort of games before. We've got that extra layer of things to think about, and even if you're not doing so well, you can always take out a couple of stragglers and pick up on the points count. Did you want to talk more about shifting objectives, or did you want to mention or tell me about how the official secondary and tertiary objectives of the game, so outside the actual scenario, how that works?
Yeah, that's a good point, Rex. So each of the missions has their way to win the objective, the victory conditions, the scenario, the victory conditions for that scenario. And it's specified in the victory conditions that secondary and tertiary objectives are not counted in any way towards the achievement of the primary mission. So in other words, did I win or lose the scenario is just down to the actual objectives for that scenario. But coming on to the secondary and tertiary objectives, they're both in the event. So firstly, a secondary objective. A secondary objective is a physical objective on the table. Every table will have one. It's placed by me as the tournament organizer or the event organizer. It's placed in a place where players have an even chance, roughly an even chance of being able to hold it at the end, and there are rules for actually holding that objective. Are you still there, Rex?
I am, yes. Yes, I'm actually referring to page 5 of the beautiful event pack, in which it lays out victory conditions, bonus points, secondary objectives, and tertiary objectives, including a little breakout box with additional things about event placings. So that information is conveniently found on page 5, Dan. Well done.
Yeah, good. So that's as I say, that secondary objective is a physical objective. How to hold it and everything is there. Now the tertiary objectives are small objectives that you can achieve once per event. So there's a list of 6 things you can do. Are you looking at them there, Rex? Are you?
I am, and they're pretty cool names too. Something to fight for. Panzernacker.
Good. Describe to me. Read Panzernacker out, Rex. That's a good example.
Destroy an enemy armoured vehicle with a shooting attack or an assault, i.e. not Panzer or airstrike or artillery, with a unit under your control. That's an interesting way of writing it, Dan.
Yeah. So basically, that's one of the objectives, and I'll talk about your. I think the way you answered that is a little bit of a question as well. I'll answer that in a minute. But so there's 6 of these objectives. There's 5 games. Over the course of the weekend, you can claim these tertiary objectives once total. So if you use Panzernacker in your first game, you write it down on the slip for the game results, and then you can no longer use Panzernacker again for the rest of the event. You've got to then choose another tertiary objective to try and achieve. Now what you can do is that you have the advantage at the end of the game. That is when you pick your tertiary objective you want to use. So say if I have achieved so for instance, Rex, read out another one there for me.
So here's a pair. Against all odds, win a game with 75% or more of your friendly units still represented on the table, or the opposite of that, give no quarter. Destroy 75% or more of your enemy units in the game.
Cool. So if you've achieved one of those, say give no quarter, and you've destroyed an enemy vehicle, you can choose at the end of the game which one of those you want to use. So if you're a clever player, you'll probably think, what is the things I'm more likely to do? Well, I won't choose that one in this game. I'll choose to have achieved the one that is less likely to do for the rest of the event. So, maybe you don't have particularly strong anti-armor, so you might choose Panzernacker this event in this game, because you think that's less likely to achieve for the remainder of your games. So you've chosen Panzernacker, you write it down on your slip, you hand it in, you get a point for achieving that tertiary objective for that game. Now, that's an event point or a tournament point, same as the secondary objective being reached. So if you've won your game, which is 5 points in the scoring, you've won that game based on your victory conditions for that scenario. Done. So that's 5 points. However, if you've achieved your secondary objective, then you get an extra 1 point. If you have achieved a tertiary objective, you get a further 1 point. Make sense, Rex?
It does. Yeah, I like it. It just adds a little bit of flavour, and even if you're coming down bottom of the pack, you've always got something to play for.
Yeah, and some of them are more difficult than others. So, for instance, there's one in there that you get a point for pinning out an enemy purely on pins, not for destroying an enemy unit on pins. Now, that's definitely harder to achieve in this format in version 3. There's a lot of rallying and stuff going on there, a lot of officers around as well. However, it is achievable, and if you're looking for that one tournament point, it's something for you to really aim for. And that's the point. The secondary and tertiary objectives always give you something to play for, even if you're having a tough old game. Maybe you haven't had a great matchup for your army. Maybe you are against someone who's really shown themselves to be at a different skill level to you, and they're or they're having a particularly great game and they're just punching above their weight. Well, you can still score some points back. Even a loss is worth 1 point, because so a win is 5, a draw is 3 points, and a loss is 1. And the reason for that is, I believe that we're not going to give away participation trophies here, so to speak, like the Little League. You don't just win from turning up, but what you do get is a point, because if you've taken part in that game and given your opponent a game rather than just conceding or not turning it up at all, then you've deserved a point for the fact that you've come to the table and toughed it out. If you've got that 1 point, well, then if you achieve your secondary as well, and then you achieve a tertiary objective, well, you actually end up with 3 points for that game. You might have lost, but you've got the same number of points as someone who's drawn in another game without getting a secondary or a tertiary.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's great.
Now,
Fantastic.
Rex, you actually highlighted something there in that I quite liked, in that Panzernacker, and it became a little bit of a question. Would you like to read it again?
Your devious mind there. Panzernacker, tertiary objective: destroy an enemy armored vehicle with a shooting attack or an assault with a unit under your control.
So this one here is a bit of a tribute to a game between Craig and Colin in my last event, the Blood Upon the Rises. So what happened is, I had Panzernacker in there, and due to a foobar, Craig's Panzer III, I think it was, came under the control of Colin, who then went on to destroy one of Craig's other vehicles. So I made the ruling then that because Craig didn't get the Panzernacker point because the vehicle, his unit, was under the control of Colin at the time. So I think that if you've got a unit under your control, not just one of your units, so if you destroy an enemy armoured vehicle, then you get the option of having that tertiary as well.
I like it. And did I tell you, Dan, that I had 3 foobars in my last game?
So, making other players' dreams come true, Rex.
Yeah. So that under your control thing, apparently I'm completely unable to control my troops. Yep. Crazy stuff. But yeah, fantastic. Sounds good. All right,
Nice.
Dan. Well, was that all you wanted to say on scoring events and scenarios?
Yeah, I think so, Rex, unless you've got any other burning questions.
No, I don't think so. That's there. But if people do have burning questions, or they want to see the deviousness of the way that you've written up the scenarios, where can they get it, Dan?
So go to valhallagames.net, and Rex has kindly pinned that post at the top of our blog.
It's not that I'm in sales or anything, but I would like you to download it. And if you download it, you might even decide to come.
Yeah. Hey, we'd love players to come. And just should I talk about where we're at now with the players? So we've got, as I said, we and we'll come back to the actual event itself, because I suppose we're talking about getting points, and points equal placings equal what happens when you get a good placing. So we'll come back to that. But just coming back to the players, we do have tickets left. Now, we sold a whole heap of tickets at the start, and the event's not until September. So what I've got a bit of that pregnant lull, so to speak, in ticket sales at the moment, where I've sold a lot of tickets to the travellers, and I'm waiting for the local people to wait for their rosters and stuff to come out. So they go, cool, am I free? Do I need to have to take a leave day? Whatever the case is, to come to the event. But we do have some tickets. Now is a great time to jump aboard. join the event. We would love to have more visitors, especially visitors from overseas, but also around the country. And all you need to do is basically get in touch with me, reach out. My contact details in the event pack, and I'm available on our email. So just email me and or reach out, get in touch. My phone number's in there as well, actually. Get in touch and secure yourself a ticket while you can.
Sounds good, and a bit of a challenge, a bit of a friendly challenge to those Aussies over here where I am. It's actually not that expensive to go to New Zealand, and don't forget you can have a great holiday as well. I think Jetstar maybe even flies into Queenstown still, which is not that far from Christchurch. Well, relatively not that far, but oh my gosh, what a beautiful slice of the world. Dan can give you directions to go to a few Lord of the Rings locations while you're down here, and soak up the beauty of New Zealand, and get to play with us at Dan's event.
Yeah, we'd love to see everybody here.
Absolutely.
So points equal prizes, don't they, Rex?
Yeah. So you've done a bit of work, I hear. I've seen a few CCs, and even a couple of people have contacted me and say, "Hey, Dan's contacted us about his event," and off they'd go on a story of beauty and plastic and things. You've been working pretty hard, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been working really hard for sponsorship for the event. So, as I say, points equal prizes, and tell them what they won. In the words of Bruce Forsyth, a cuddly toy. So everybody will go home with a prize. That is the story, thanks to our fantastic sponsors. Now, I just want to talk about the prize a wee bit, because it's not all about winning, and it's not all about the winners necessarily getting the biggest prize. And so the principle for the event, for a start, is the first. So basically, players will be able to choose from a table the prize that they want. So if you get a prize, or when you get a prize, and we'll talk more about that, you walk up to the prize table and you pick up the prize that you want and walk away with it in your hot little hands and get to take it home. Now, the first person who gets to do that, so in other words, the pick of all the table, is not going to be the winner. Okay, it's not going to be a best Axis or a best Allied winner. The person who gets to get that prize first is going to be a participation prize. So by coming to the event, you'll have a chance of being drawn out of the hat, and you will get first pick of the table. So that's one of my overriding principles. It could be anyone.
It could be.
Could be anyone.
Having said that, I've been to multiple tournaments where I've been, after 15 other people, and I've still got an awesome prize. It was exactly what I wanted. There you go.
Yeah, well, we've got an excellent track record in our hobby, in the bolt action realm of the war games hobby, thanks to our amazing sponsors. So, we'll talk more about them in a minute. But so the first person is going to be a participation prize. So you will get, if your name's drawn in a hat, the pick of anything on the tables. So that's cool. Then what we'll do is we'll give away other prizes, and I've yet to decide what order this is in. But remember my principles of it's not just about winning. So I'll say that at this stage. However, there are prizes for winners, and that's pretty close to the top, because you have one. Okay, and there'll be prizes for first, second, and third place Axis General, and first, second, and third place for Allied General. There'll also be prizes for best General overall. Now, as well as that, there'll be another couple of places for best overall. So in other words, there'll be first, second, and third overall based on the points. And the reason for that is because Warlord Games have done excellent sponsorship of our event, absolutely fantastic. Okay, and one of the one of the prizes that we have to give away is we've got the bolt action, not quite penetrated round going through the armour, so what we like to call the nipple trophies. We've got the first, second, and third place of those.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really great. I'd love to one day win one of those, just to be able to have it on my table here beside me while I work. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I've been to a few tournaments, and not all of them have had that, Dan. That's because so far your event's been pretty popular, and you're going to end up with quite a huge number of people, isn't it? There's a cap.
Yeah.
That you have to
that's right.
go through before you get a certain level of support from Warlord.
Yeah, that's right. And thanks to our awesome community, we've built those numbers up, and as I say, we're looking to get more players in there as well. So to go with those trophies, of course, Warlord have also given us a quantity of gold order dice for the winner, and they've also given us a generous amount of silver order dice as well for place getters that weren't the winner themselves, so they get to walk away with those. And
silver order dice. Oh, let me rub them on myself. Oh no, that's another podcast.
Yeah. And as well as that, we have got a very generous amount of the Warlords 2025 event limited edition miniature as well. So I believe the guy in this year's, you'll have to look it up. I can't remember his name, but I think he's from the movie Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, or the mini-series, whatever it is, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So that's a really nice miniature too.
Oh, that's really great. I mean, we should never take for granted that Warlord are super generous with their stuff, aren't they? I mean, they don't have to give us anything. They could just make great miniatures and great rules and be done with it. But on top of that, the icing on the cake is they really support events too. So, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
good on you, Warlord.
Absolutely. And hand in hand with that, they'll be very generous as well, and they're good listeners, because when I told them, hey, I'm doubling up on first, second, and third places because Axis and Allies, etc., they doubled up on their certificate packs they sent as well, and closed with their prize pool. So we got plenty of certificates to give away, and as well as that, they have been generous enough with their prize support as well. So there's a huge amount of plastic and metal crack to walk away with as well to add to your collection.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Well, thanks for doing the hard work on that one, Dan.
No problem. But it's not just about Warlord. We've got fantastic manufacturers and retailers that are pillars in our community and up and coming, and have been fantastic when I reach out to them and support the growth of the community by giving some sponsorship. So without going into maybe details, everyone, what should we talk through a bit of a list of them?
Yeah, for sure. So because I have the event pack here, which is available at valhallagames.net.
Good salesmanship.
Yeah. Should I go through and I'll just name them, and you can tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, go for it, Rex.
So top of the list, Warlord Games. We talked about those. Thanks, Warlord Games. It's really, really great, guys. We love your game, and we love your support as well. Next on my list is War and Peace Games here in Australia.
Well, War and Peace are a fantastic pillar of our community. Not only do they have great sales and availability of all the lines and manufacturers that they retail and distribute to, for that matter, across Australia and New Zealand and further afield, but they're also, as I say, pillars of our community in regards to the support they give. When you look at all the events, the number of times in Australia and New Zealand that War and Peace Games are mentioned is huge. They're fantastic to deal with, and for this event, they have been really useful at representing my event to Warlord as well. Thanks for that. But also, they've kindly offered to provide some prize support, Now, I am going to say this about not only War and Peace, but other sponsors, because the closer to home sponsors of Australia and New Zealand, because of the flash to bang time of getting stuff from overseas to here, I've mainly concentrated and narrowed down and basically solidified what I'm going to get from sponsors overseas, a greater distance overseas to start with yet. So we haven't worked out exactly what War and Peace are going to give us, but as always, it's going to be very generous, and I thank them very much for their support.
Thanks, guys. Just one thing, Dan. Flash to bang time. That's the first time I've ever heard that expression. That's an army thing, right?
You need to get shot at more, Rex.
Yeah.
Flash to bang time.
I think that's
time from initiation to the time that where the metal meets the meat.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll watch it on a movie. Perhaps not so much in real life. All right. Moving on. I've got a new saying. Moving on. War Games Atlantic. Friends of the podcast for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So War Games Atlantic, we've got a long-standing relationship with them pretty much from the time their kits first started coming out. They have supported the release of our book through our Kickstarter and stuff like that with free sprues, basically pre-release sprues at the time of their Italians. Now, War Games Atlantic have been very generous in giving us support, and I went in a bit of a different direction with War Games Atlantic. I specifically, because of their fantastic range of stuff that they have, from historical, fantasy, science fiction, I wanted to touch all corners of that, and knowing that a lot of our gamers dabble in multiple systems, and end of the day, we paint a lot of khaki and drab colours in our hobby, especially World War II hobbyists. What I said to them is, hey, go crazy, send me anything you want, from your range. And they've been very generous. We've ended up with a great range of historical stuff from so in particular from the Baron Wars range, so things like Peasant Levy
Baron Wars.
and
Baron Wars. Baron Wars. I want
so
that.
The Peasant Levy, the Knights on Foot, stuff like that, and then we go into some science fiction boxes and some fantasy boxes. They've been really generous, Rex, and it's going to be a nice alternative to players that have a lot of World War II things. They're going to be able to walk away with something different colour palette, and something different to keep their hobby fresh.
Right, that's it. I'm going into War and Peace Games, and I'm buying some War Games Atlantic Baron Wars miniatures this week, tomorrow even. I'm gonna do it, Dan. I'm gonna do it. Start my collection.
They're beautiful miniatures, aren't they?
Settle down, Rex. Settle down.
Okay, what's the next one, Rex?
Miniatures for sure. Offensive miniatures. Amazing sculpts.
They are, and again, long-standing friends of the podcast, friends of Valhalla Games. They were great sponsors and readers of our book when it came out. If you got it in the Kickstarter, you would have seen preview shots of a lot of their miniatures that weren't released at that time, that since have become released. And Offensive Miniatures remains one of our closest friends and supporters, and they've been really generous in providing a bunch of miniatures for us to put out on our table for players to be able to pick up and walk away with. So really generous. We really, really appreciate it.
I've got an order in with them at the moment too. I'm starting to see a trend here, Dan. I may need help. All right, moving on. Yeah. Titan Terrain New Zealand.
Oh, another company which this one here might not be so obvious, but actually Titan Terrain's dockside sort of shops, so to speak. Even though they're French, what Titan Terrain actually did is they custom made us roofs, pan-tile roofs, and custom laser cut me signs, Italian signs and stuff. So if you actually look in our book, you can see an engagement in the streets of Italy, and that's actually Titan Terrain stuff that originally was French stuff. So Titan Train New Zealand has got fantastic products, and unluckily, as we speak, I believe Dan there is looking for another part to his laser cut lasers, something like that, to continue printing. So he's just got a bit of a pause there at the moment. But their stuff is fantastic, and they have been really good at sponsoring some terrain for the event to actually be used in the event as well.
Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, next one, Dan. Empress Miniatures. Some fantastic minis in there. Great variety from your change from your same same old plastic. They've got some really nice stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, they're fantastic. We're really happy to be to gain some sponsorship from them. We're really lucky. So at this stage, we have got an order in with them, and I am really looking forward to it arriving here on the sunny shores, or not so sunny at the moment because it's winter, but maybe from the sunny shores of the UK, and opening it up and seeing what they've sent us, because it doesn't matter what specifically there is in the box. Their miniatures are absolutely beautiful, and you know, what I'll say to people is go online, check out Empress Miniatures, check their ranges, and check the detail of the sculpts. They're absolutely fantastic, and one of the best things about them at the moment is that one of their primary sculptors is Paul Hicks, who's doing amazing things. He's at the top of his game. So thank you very much, Empress Miniatures. Look forward to seeing this stuff on the prize table and seeing the looks of joy on people's faces as they get to pick it up.
Fantastic. All right, so I've been out in New Zealand a while, Dan, and my Maori pronunciation is somewhat lacking. Kapiti Hobbies?
Yeah, Kapiti Hobbies. Yep, well
Yeah,
done.
right, gotcha.
So these guys are based on the Kapiti coast, on the way down to Wellington, and they are one of the bigger hobby suppliers, hobby retailers here in New Zealand, and fantastic sponsors of a whole bunch of events, be it historical, fantasy, and so on in the community here in New Zealand. And yeah, I've purchased off them for many years, and they're kind enough to sponsor us for the event. And what I will say about these guys as well is that they are one of the two sponsors which I'm going to talk about, which have stocks of the Scenic Textures range of scenery items. And for those of you, and Rex, I don't know if you realise this and connected the dots there, but these guys are the ones that I bought the Scenic Textures brand off, that I put on the blog post about the jungle bunkers. You're particularly impressed by the jungle scenery there, I think.
Yeah, so go and check it out in about maybe early June 2025. Dan made up some bunkers. Somebody kindly printed him some 3D printable bunkers, and he's turned them into just an absolute work of art. Craig, yeah, well done, Craig. And it's they're just beautiful. And every time I see somebody, I'll say, "Oh, hey, have a look at what my brother made. Look at these bunkers." And everybody goes, "Yeah, that's some nice scenery." But you know, it's, apart from the fact that you've done a great job, I think that those foliage packs that you've got, which I can't seem to find in Australia, so I'm going to have to order them from New Zealand. They are just beautiful foliage, just amazing. So go and check it out if you haven't seen it. It's well worth it.
Yeah, it's really good. And our next sponsor is also a stockist of that Scenic Textures brand, which is a New Zealand brand. So who we got there, Rex?
Iron Horse Hobbies.
Yeah, so I've spoken about these guys in our last podcast. So this is a store which sells a lot of fantastic scenery products, because they, as the name suggests, have a lot of model railroad products and scenic products associated with that. But also, they are stockists of other ball games as well. And for those of you who listened to the podcast last time, and if you didn't, just go back and listen to it, the venue for that event was at Iron Horse Hobbies, and they're sponsoring us again for this event. Again, being a local provider, we haven't worked out exactly what we're getting from them yet, but I'm very much appreciative of it and very much looking forward to seeing what they can give us.
Fantastic. And when I'm there in September, Dan, we'll have to go and have a visit.
Yeah, definitely, because they're a great store here in Christchurch, New Zealand.
Sounds good. All right, the next guys, I don't know who these are. They sound dodgy. Valhalla Games. I think they wrote a book called The Battle of Plimsoll Bridge. I got a bit of a problem. I keep ordering boxes of books, and I'm sort of like, well, how many of these are we going to sell? And then I keep selling them out, and then I need to order more. So we're in that lull at the moment where it's available in PDF, but I'm planning to order another run of books. So anyone who's been waiting, you can order it online or come to Dan's event, and hopefully I'll have some for sale there, or you might even get one for free.
Sounds good.
That's everything.
I like the way I didn't ask you that before I decided we were going to provide one of those. So we'll have one of our books on the table. Yeah.
And that's all that's on my list then.
Really, Rex, will allow me, as Samuel L. Jackson says, allow me to retort, because I've got two more that I want you to add to that list, Rex.
Oh,
do you want to hear the first one?
I do.
Yep. All right, first one is Any Scale Models, based in the UK. So these guys, if you haven't seen them...
Yeah. They've got some amazing stuff. A lot of little scatter and terrain in pretty much any scale, from small to sort of super big. And the stuff is really, really nice. And it's not plastic or 3D printed either. What's the story there, Dan? What are they?
So it's resin. It's traditionally sort of cast resin products. And you're right, Rex. They do specialise in doing things like scatter and terrain packs and vehicles. So their vehicles tend to be cast in a minimum number of parts. Really easy for wargamers to get onto the table. Either playing in your army or as scenery themselves, as terrain. And look, they do huge amounts of stuff on there, and they're a fantastic value. So these guys have kindly said that every participant in the event will have a money or a percentage off voucher. We'll throw one of those into every participant's bag, and you go online, choose the goodies you want, and cackle maniacally when they arrive in the mail, and you get to put them on your table.
Oh, that's really nice and really smart too, by the way. Yeah, I'm due to do an order with them, so I'll be looking forward to that. I'll definitely be placing an order with them once I get my voucher. Oh, that's amazing. So even if I don't get one on the tabletop, on the prize table, I'll still get the chance to order something at a discounted price. So, yeah, fantastic.
Yep, it's a huge one. And again, those are something that featured in our book as well. For the keen-eyed, there's some defences and stuff sort of snuck in there in the odd place. So, yeah, fantastic product. Should I tell you about the last sponsor now, Rex?
Yes.
Okay, the last sponsor so far, that just come aboard, is Rubicon Models Asia Pacific.
Oh, that is great. They're just so crisp, aren't they? I've got heaps of their vehicles. I've got some sort of a Stug and a Panzer III, and I don't know how many I've got, but a lot. But they're always like they're engineering perfect, aren't they? They're not just some guy with a block of clay and a putty knife just cutting away at it. Like they're super, super finely engineered, and I love them. And one day I'm going to get that Tiger 2 with the completely decked out interior.
Oh yeah.
I've got to
That'd be great. I don't have one of those myself yet, but man, I want one of those too. what we've got for this event is we have got kindly a huge amount of several vehicle kits they're sending over for us. Now, in New Zealand, here we unfortunately have not got any retailers of Rubicon Models products at the moment. So our local retailers via internet orders are actually War and Peace Games in Australia
Yep.
or Rubicon Models Asia Pacific themselves. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
I took the opportunity to speaking to Rubicon and said, hey, there are a number of models which came out here in your last sort of big quarterly releases that basically were only on the shelves here in New Zealand for a certain amount of time. So some of our players have possibly never had their hands on them. So they have kindly sponsored us a number of boxes of those products, and yeah, they'll be on the physical product on the prize table, ready for players to take away. And when I say they've been generous, they've been very generous. And thank you very much, Rubicon Models Asia Pacific, for your support. Because man, when the players see them, they're going to be really impressed at what they can pick up, and take home.
Yeah, they're really nice. And I've been painting a fair few resin things, but my gosh, I cracked open a plastic vehicle kit the other day, and it was just such a pleasure to put together. The whole thing was just done and dusted in a short amount of time, and it was absolutely perfect. No striations, and it was just it was a breath of fresh air. So fantastic. Love you, Rubicon.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great.
guys.
Yeah, and so far that comes to the end of our sponsors, but there's plenty of time, and who knows what other surprises I've got up my sleeve, Rex, because I have been talking to other people, and we'll see if any of that comes into effect for this event. But suffice to say, thank you to all those sponsors. We will be thanking you again, and we'll put out regular sponsor like focus posts on our social media and stuff to
Yep.
highlight their amazing work, and we'll be singing their praises because they absolutely deserve it. But
Yeah,
what that
that's really great.
equates to for us is it equates to tables full of product that people are going to be able to walk away with. So as I say, at the moment, where we're at with the number of people we've got, everybody is going to walk away with a prize, and that will remain no matter if we had 46 players turn up for the event, everyone will walk away with a prize. At the moment,
Okay,
everyone will
wow.
walk away with a prize that is worth more than the ticket that they've paid for the event. So if I did the maths here, here's the maths.
Yep.
I invest $35 only, so New Zealand $35. That's about, it's 35 South Pacific pesos. Is probably
Yep.
worth about £1, or it's not.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just under half, and for US dollars, UK dollars. So there's a idea of how much or how little the ticket is. So you invest $35, come along and walk away with a prize that's worth more than you paid. It seems like a no-brainer after having 5 fantastic games of bolt action in a friendly environment.
Yeah, sounds great. And I'm looking forward to seeing your terrain, Dan. I know you've been slaving at terrain, and I know secretly you enjoy slaving at terrain. But I'm looking forward to. I've seen a few snapshots. I've seen a few snippets. A few just emailed grain elevators and what have you. There's some
Yeah.
huge terrain there. I'm really looking forward to it coming together on the table, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and to seeing everybody else that's there. Is
Yeah,
there
me too.
anything
Me
else
too.
that you wanted to talk about the event that's not in the event pack already?
Um, Not at this stage, unless you're about to poke a prod me and tell me that I've forgotten something. What I'd say again is that there's more prizes to be given out at the event, such as best painted army and stuff like that you'd like to expect at any respectable large event like that. So there's some real prizes there, best painted army, participation prize, etc. That reward more than just winning, and that really says a lot about this event. It's competitive, as all events are, but there's room for all players in there. Knowing that, because the format lends itself, being not Swiss, it lends itself to you just having 5 great games. If you're a newer player, you're going to have 5 great games anyway. Learn lots, walk away with a prize worth more than the ticket you invested in, and we'd just really like to see you there and build the community.
Yeah, it sounds really great, Dan. I'm really looking forward to it. So just a recap: tickets are $35 each. It is in Burnham, which is near Christchurch in New Zealand. It's on September the 27th and 28th, so it's still a little way away yet. We've got our act together. Well, not me. Dan's got his act together early and given everybody a chance to save their pesos to go to for airfares or whatever. And even the just looking through the pack now, the list submission is not until 26th of August. So it gives you plenty of time to paint something up and work it out and, have a few more games with your new army or whatever you got to do, and be there, Johnny, on the spot.
Yeah, that's right. And I timed the submission date so that the forecast release of the armies of Great Britain should be included if the Warlord timeframes are adhered to. So basically, you can get the Armies of Great Britain book and still have time to look through that and then submit an army from that. And remember, when you get your ticket, so you're purchasing Axis or Allies. So if you've purchased an Allies ticket, well, you can, at this stage, you don't need to select what Allied army you are submitting until the submission date. Same with Axis as well. So sure, you might only have the armies of Germany book out. However, you've still got all the choices from the rulebook itself, and you can play the rulebook army lists and or of course the Minor Nations PDFs of Warlord until basically your armies of book comes out. So that supersedes any of those. So Armies US now has to use the Armies of book rather than the rule book options to select from, etc.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for making that obvious, so we all know where we're at. So yeah, that's great. All right, Dan. Well, thank you so much for going to doing all the work to organise the event. Thanks for chasing around the sponsors. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for letting me camp in your house. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, it sure is. Wouldn't have it any other way. And thanks for everyone who's helped me at this stage. Thank you, Rex, for your support in doing the prize pack. I'd like to highlight to players again that thus ends Rex's participation in the organising of the event. And Rex, I'm afraid to say to you that from here on, you shall remain my brother, but in certain ways you'll be dead to me, because from here on out you can expect the same treatment as everybody else. So Rex won't be seeing the army list submission until they go public and stuff like that. So he's exactly the same as everybody else. And Rex, if I have to make any tough calls at your table, mate, they will be made.
Great stuff. All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah.
You wouldn't have it any other way.
I wouldn't have it any other way. And I guess it'll be the same when you come to my event, Dan.
Ooh. Yeah, yep, I'd love that. Let's see if we can make that happen.
You just never know. Yeah. All right, Dan. Well, thank you again. And I guess we better say good night. And thanks to everybody for listening. We'll get this podcast up as soon as we can, and hopefully we're on the track of getting to be a little bit more regular now as well, and we're looking forward to that too.
Yeah, we are, and I'd like to put a special shout out here to one of our regular listeners, and someone who's regularly active on our social media posts and stuff like that. I'm not going to embarrass you by saying your name, but you know who you are. His father's basically been taken poorly and is he's going to spend a lot of time on the road. So he put in a special request to have a podcast from us to listen to, as he was travelling to spend valuable time with his father, his elderly father. So please drive safe. You know who you are, and our best wishes are with you. Enjoy the time. And we hope that we've kept you company on a long drive, kept you awake and kept you safe while you laugh at us and our silliness.
Yep. Look after yourself, mate. Good. I hope you get some good time.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's about it for me, Dan. Except to probably say, stay classy, Burnham.
All right. Thank you, Rex. Thanks, everybody. We'll listen to you and talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Cheerio.